Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to SevTech Ages. So since the last episode, I've done a bit of work over at the castle, and I've also finished up our second blood altar, or our third blood altar, technically. We have the manual craft blood altar in there, we have the blood orb network, our blood network altar right there, and then we have this one here that we're going to be using today. I do need to make a sound muffler for that. Actually, I need to make a sound muffler for that one, sound muffler for that one, and a sound muffler back here. So I'll do that here in a minute. I'm going to cut briefly in just a bit. I've also got some routing nodes crafting up. Oh, and I need to get a master node crafting up as well. Because we were just about out of routing nodes. I'm going to have to make more input and output nodes as well, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and grab this node router. And then I've also got the stuff here. That's right. I was wanting to make some hoppers, and one of these I want to upgrade into an ender hopper. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab this master ritual stone, these ritual stones, and our ritual diviner. And the first thing that I want to do today, I've actually got another little farm set up over here. I decided I'm going to have all of the secondary wheel types ran through one single farm, so we'll have all 4 of them here, and then we're going to have just the primary wheel over here. And the reason I'm doing that, actually, is because of the fact that this is the wheel that we're going to be using for crafting, alright? This is going to be the wheel that we actually use for the majority of stuff. The wheel that's farmed over here is only going to be for ritual augmentation, building, and, you know, if I decide to use it in a Tartaric gem for the sentient bow, which I probably will, I'll probably use like destructive wheel or something like that in the sentient bow. So we'll get into that, you know, here in just a little bit. But what I want to do first up, the very first thing that I want to do is right over here, actually. I want to set up our master ritual stone right here. And I'm going to go ahead and actually apply a redstone signal. Let me break this. I need to actually get up on top of this. Let me go through the up here. We're going to shut off the crystal breaking system for just a minute. This right here, and this isn't something I'm ever really going to have to use ever again, but for right now I'm going to hit it with a redstone signal so it will not break crystals. Then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and turn the system on for a minute and let it go ahead and start pumping wheel into the chunk and growing these crystals, because anytime that happens it grows a random crystal, so I want to go ahead and reduce the number of random crystals that are out here, because once these crystals are fully grown they can't grow anymore. And then what I want to do is I want to take our ritual diviner and I want to set this to resonance of the faceted crystal. That's what I want. And this thing, I think, yeah, we should be big enough. It should be a big enough area to place this out. So let's go ahead and build this thing out. We're going to remove this here shortly, but for right now I need this right here. Okay, so now that that's in place, what we're going to do... It takes up like the majority of this room. Okay, that's still crafting. Good. Let's go ahead and throw this into... Is it here that we craft it? Yeah. Throw this into here. We're going to make a crystal cluster. There we go. Demon wheel, crystal cluster. And then what I want to do is I want to put this right in the center, right on top of the master ritual stone. And we're going to let this thing sit here and grow. Now, since we have all these other crystals that are growing... Okay, it is starting to grow already. Some of these are starting to fill out, like this one looks done, this one's just about done. Once those are done, they're going to stop taking growth ticks, which is ideal. But this thing, it really doesn't look like it's going to take all that long to grow this. So while that's growing, I want to go ahead and pop on over here. I want to go ahead and lock our drawers. This is going to be for our secondary wheel types. So let's go ahead and lock those. And then I want to put an ender hopper on the back of this, because this is going to be used for collecting the crystals that we grow in this room. And bear in mind that you can actually put them on the walls and stuff too. The wheel crystals, like what I just made, you can actually take these and like manually put them on the walls. And I'm going to do that in this room just so there's more crystals. It really doesn't actually speed anything up, because it's going to grow 1 crystal every time a mob dies. So really, I mean, you could have, over here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have like, this little area will be like destructive wheel, this one will be steadfast wheel, this one will be corrosive, and you know, this one will be whatever. And, I mean, these back two will be slightly slower because they're 1 less crystallizer than these front ones, but it's very minute, and it's not really going to matter in the long run. We just need this thing to fully grow, which it looks like it's just about done, right? Should be like one more. And then cool things will happen. Grow. Grow, grow, grow. Oh, and you know what? I never actually activated the ritual, did I? Let me go grab the activation stone. Whoops. Let's grab this. And let's... okay, this is a slight problem here. Go ahead and pull this off for just a minute. We're going to activate. Rush of energy flows through the ritual. And then if we take a look here, if we give this just a second, this doesn't need to go right here. That's fine. I placed it a little bit too high there. You can use a crystallizer. I'm not actually going to. I picked that up. I have a couple extra from when I filled that room out, and then I ended up putting down the Hellfire Forges. It actually needs to go 2 blocks above. So it needs to go 1 block above where I had it setting. So what we're going to do, we're going to put it, we're going to stick it right there, in fact. And I think it can sit right there. I don't think that area has to be uncovered. Yeah, it can't. You can't put a block here, 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 or here, but you can put one above it. So this should be fine right here. This should work. So once this thing gets its final growth tick, which it's growing decently fast because there's not a whole lot of crystals that aren't fully grown at the moment. So it should operate at a decent rate for us. And I'm actually going to rinse and repeat this a few times. So really one thing I should probably do is let me grab like 1 stack of these demon wheel crystals and let's throw them into, just so we can go ahead and get that running and making more of them. Okay, yeah, see that crystal, it fully grew. Well, actually I don't need, now that I think about it, I don't need more because I've got one right there. That's fine. But since this has finally grown, we can break these off and get our crystal pieces. And then we have to rinse and repeat and let this thing grow again. But if I want to make my own crystal place, it does require 4 of these, so I don't know that I want to place my own. I mean, I could put down, I've got crystallizers over here, so technically this would actually probably work alright. Let's actually try that. Let's put down, this ritual down here is already running. So let's put down like corrosive wheel, and all these wheel types. And we'll go ahead and smelt them down. So if we come over here and we take a look real quick, let's grab our demon wheel aura gauge. And if we come into this chunk here, we should see, yeah, you can see the 4 colors below where the raw wheel is normally displayed. They're about halfway filled. So there's a little bit of wheel within this chunk. And if we give it just a little bit, we should actually get some growth on the crystallizers. Now, eventually I'd like to have each one of these color-coded, but they may all initially spawn onto like 1 crystallizer area. If that happens, it's fine. It's not really an issue. But I can use this ritual over here. I can leave it up and running and gather more wheel crystals from this while I'm waiting to get this system kind of jump-started, because it does take a little bit to get this whole system jump-started. And I'm actually going to go ahead and, if I recall, I already activated that ritual. We'll find out soon if I did or not. I'm going to go ahead and lock these drawers in. So we'll do like corrosive wheel, destructive, steadfast, and vengeful. And I'm going to go ahead and pull these out, and I'm going to cook these up. And you don't actually have to do them all in, I mean, I could run them all through 1 demon crucible. I have 4, and that's for automation purposes. That makes it a whole lot easier, which we'll get into that in just a second. But I think this layout should be good. It should work nicely for us. And I'm going to go ahead and put these crystals in. It's not using any wheel, so these are just going to sit here until it makes some crystals. But it, like whenever we're doing the raw crystals, it actually takes it a little bit. There we go. So we've got 1 right here, 1 right there, 1 there, 1 there. That'll be alright to get us started with. Oh, and there's a second. And there's a second, and go, go, go. Okay, well, since we got additional crystals being created, yeah, I don't think this ritual is actually active at the moment. So what I'm going to do, which actually our ritual is kind of up and going at this point. Let me pop up here. Let me turn this ritual on, because I think I forgot to. There we go. Rush of energy flows through the ritual. At this point, we really don't have to worry about how much life points are consumed. Okay, and I almost forgot. It almost slipped my mind here. Let's go ahead and set the area that this is going to cover. Nearly forgot about that. So, put a block there, and we'll put a block right up there. And let's say define area. And let's go ahead and select our ritual. And then we're going to say from here to there. And there we go. Now our crystals are starting to break off. And the ender hopper should collect them. And we should see 2 of all the wheel types go into these drawers. So there's 2. Okay, everything has gone in. Perfect. We have 2 of everything in here. Okay, so now, I mean, we're pretty much ready at this point. I mean, I've got wheels still growing over here. I'll remove this whole ritual here in just a second. You can see it can actually stack up the crystals. So I've got it kind of just sitting over here as like a passive farm. One thing I never showed you guys is if you have the Tartaric gems in your inventory have to have a total combined wheel of over, what is it, 1400, 1200, something like that. And you can shift right click and actually grab. That's actually a visual bug. But you can just shift right click and pull them off if you have that much wheel in your inventory. But I can just break these because it actually doesn't matter. You don't get any kind of bonus for leaving the crystal cluster down in this case. It's always going to grow all 4 types every time it does that. Every time it, runs a crystal to full growth and breaks it all off. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to set up collection transfer for this. So what we're going to need is right over here are routing nodes. And I'm going to need input routing node. I'm going to need some output routing nodes. I'm actually going to need one more output routing node. Let me go grab, so that's fluid filter. Okay, I'm going to need one more output routing node, and I'm going to need, let's see, I'm actually going to need 4 output routing nodes, and yeah. And then quite a few precise item filters, which are sticks and glass. It's fine. Let me grab this stuff. And honestly, there's been quite a few areas that I'm wanting to build, but I need these wheel types to build. Even up in the castle, there's actually the forge area that we'll be working in a little bit today. I want to work in there, but I need these wheel types being farmed for the building materials that I want. Okay, so now let me get these let me get these nodes running. So I want to do, got the Tartaric gem, there we go. And then I'm going to do 16 outputs as well. Go ahead and get these things being made. And then I've got some more, I've got 36 routing nodes. Okay, there we go. 4 output routing nodes. And what I want to do is I want to put these down, 1 on each of these. So we're going to do output routing node there, or I'm sorry, not right here. I have hoppers on these. I don't have hoppers on these ones, but I like to keep a safety, kind of a safety buffer in the back of this to make sure that we always have a bunch of them. So output routing node, and then we're going to have output routing node and output routing node. And what I want to do is I want to specify the wheel types that are going to go into these crucibles, because it's better if you have one crucible per wheel type in a farm. It makes it a little bit easier to automate. It makes it a little bit just safer, better, smarter, that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is on this is the north face, and I'm going to say that the north face is going to have a precise item filter with destructive wheel in it. And then the next one is north face precise filter with vengeful crystal. And then we're going to have north face precise filter with corrosive. And then lastly, north face precise filter and steadfast. That should be good. And then let's go ahead and just connect these up. That. And then we'll connect it to that. We'll connect that to that. And then this one right here, we're going to connect over to a master node that's going to govern this little wheel system over here. Now, technically I could connect it to this one over here, but then I have to add precise filters to this. And in truth, the master nodes are really, really cheap, so I'm just going to make a new one. And we're going to put this guy setting right here and then connect that up. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to put an input routing node just on our drawer controller, and we'll just put it right there. It'll be fine. And we're going to connect this to that. Now chances are we're going to see all the wheel get zapped out of here, and it should be getting deposited into here and melting down and making more crystals. So pretty much the same way that we started the last farm and got the raw wheel being farmed up, now we're doing with these other crystals. Now right now it's going to make additional crystal clusters, and I'm going to let this just run for a little while, just kind of wild. It can make whatever crystal clusters it wants, and then later on I can shut this off, of course with redstone on the hoppers, and then I can just make crystal clusters like the way I just showed you, where you put 4 of any type of crystal in here and you make crystal clusters that you can actually place down. I'm going to make some more and kind of fine-tune the colors on this to make sure that each one has kind of a dedicated little garden area, if you will. And then this little area, I'm going to leave this running for right now. This is just kind of like free crystals to help speed up the system. It's really all that it is, because I don't need raw wheel right now. I've been running this, and we've still got 26.5 stacks in here. And then I've got all of this that's ready to break. So, and we're getting a decent spread of these growing. I see quite a bit of the yellows, quite a bit of the greens, quite a bit of blues, and quite a bit of reds. So that should be good. Yeah, you can see at this point there's actually starting to be wheel crystals. I think except for corrosive. Corrosive hasn't kickstarted as well as the others, but it should be coming up. It just hasn't gotten lucky, I guess. But you can see that all the other wheel types actually are hanging out within our demon crucibles. So we're producing enough crystals that we're offsetting what we're burning at the moment. So, but it is going to take a while. Yeah, see, there we go. Corrosive is now locked in pretty much. But it is going to take a while for this whole system to build up a stockpile. So I'm not going to plug up this over here. This is demon crucibles that are going to be burning those 4 types of wheel, just like we have over here, and that's just going to be for filling Tartaric gems. And then we'll have 2 Hellfire Forges here that are used for crafting or filling of the Tartaric gems. Now, really, you don't have a whole lot of wheel recipes, none that I can actually think of, that actually require specific wheel. I mean, generally, they just require general wheel. So that's why I'm not too worried about having a bunch of Hellfire Forges or thinking that we're going to be even crafting a lot with these specialized wheel types, because nothing really requires that. Raw wheel is perfectly fine. So it's mainly going to be just for filling gems and ritual augmentation, and then our building, like I said. So okay, I turned off the ritual down there. It's killing the mobs. It will still passively create, but I'm not planning on being right here right this second to manage it, you know, for the spawners and stuff like that. I'm not going to AFK here right now. But if we take a look here, I mean, we've already gotten, like if we take a look at, say, the, I don't know, this one. There's 22 in that one. And then we've got 30 in that one. We've got 19 corrosive, and then 39 steadfast. So, I mean, it's already built up a decent amount. And you'll notice, I mean, it's still passively making some, even without the mobs running down below. It's just not as fast. Even not doing the AFK method, it's still going to passively make them. So I'm just going to let that kind of build up slowly as we work on some other things. And then later on, I'll come back over here and I'll AFK. Okay, so now, and I guess really I could go ahead and pull this whole system up, because I don't necessarily need it. And I think we will probably, I'll probably run some redstone and actually have the shut-off valve at the ritual down beneath all this. So down here instead. Because if we want it to stop, that's the best way to do it, really, at this point, I'd say. So I'll probably switch it up a little bit and put it down there. But I went ahead and reactivated the ritual, so it's going to start breaking all this wheel off. And then it's just going to passively make wheel. But it's not killing mobs or anything right now. So let's go ahead and switch gears, and let's pop over here. Actually, I need to go make some more master nodes, because we're going to need quite a few this episode, because I've got a few things planned. So let me go. I already got some iron blocks running. Just have to go pick them up. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I want to work with this blood altar, and I've got a few master routing nodes. I've got 4 more being created. But before we do that, there's one thing I want to deal with. I've actually got the cobblework shut off right now. It ran through all of that starlight that was there, and then I ran another crystal, and I got about a half tank off of that one. So I definitely got lucky on that first one, because I mean, it ran for a while. Like hours after filling the tank, it kept on running. But one thing I want to do is, I've got an issue. I actually don't have any here because I manually cleaned it out. And this is actually coming from over here. There's not a metadata filter, sadly, for the routing nodes, but I have another plan for that. We'll get to that at some point. It's not too big of an issue, but the armor, because basically what I've been doing is I've just been like letting it build up, and then I'll throw it all in a obsidian chest. I have a hopper over the crucible over there, and then I just take the chest over there and let it let it dump. But for example, there's like gunpowder, string, bones in here, and they don't actually belong here, right? We have a place in the network, in our drawer network, where those items can go. And I'm going to go ahead and clear out the weather. So, but we've got a place that these could go. They're just not going there like they're supposed to. So what I'm going to do about that is actually, and I may actually have to remove these slats at the top. I mean, I could put nodes right there, and I guess it's not really a big deal. Yeah, we'll do that. So I'm going to put input routing nodes touching those obsidian chests. These are the 2 sort chests. Now, generally, everything goes in this chest. But once things fill up over there, it goes over here. And then also, if it gets a big influx of stuff at once, it will split them and send some over here and then some over here. Because it can't access the same inventory effectively when it's getting a lot of items. That's one thing about the blood magic nodes, is they don't handle very fast items all that well. It's not ideal for like really fast stuff, but for our purposes right now, it's pretty good. So we're going to put input routing nodes right there, and then I'm going to take and set up a master, and we're going to put this master setting right there, and we'll just go ahead and connect that to there, and then we'll go ahead and connect it also to there. And then what I want to do is I want to get output routing nodes, and let me go ahead and grab this again. And what I want to do is I just want to set output routing nodes like right here, and then we'll grab that connection and put another output routing node over here. And this is basically so that it's going to dump the items. If something happens and they end up in the 2 sort chests, they're not going to stay there. It's going to go ahead and pull them out if they have a place in the drawer. That's all the purpose of that that master node system is. So if we look now, we shouldn't have gunpowder, bones, string, stuff in here. So it's basically just a way to keep this from filling up, especially with the cobbleworks. I mean, I wasn't getting a ton. I would, like, say I would log off, and assuming a drawer didn't fill up in the time that I slept. So we're gonna say, maybe 8 hours. I would only get like maybe 3 stacks of stuff in total. So I mean, it really isn't that big of a concern, but just so I don't have to manually manage it, we'll go ahead and do that. You'll notice I do have a lot of aquamarine shell in here, almost 3 stacks of that. And then if we take a look down here, obsidian, and I actually just recently used quite a few stacks of this making ritual stones, but we've got 24 stacks of obsidian. We've also got 64 stacks of smooth stone, 314 stacks of cobblestone, 99 stacks of sand, ice, 118 stacks. So we've got a lot of the stuff right now. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to set an input routing node, and this is going to be part of a different little system. Basically, we have one system that's connected to the drawer controller that is our dump network, right? So we can dump items in there from whatever source, and it's going to go to the drawers, and then there's also other places that it can go. We set that up the other episode. And then we have this network, this output network, that's pulling any overflow that ends up in our 2 sort chests. Anything that can go into drawers, it's sending it here. And another nice thing about that is if I get a lot of, like, a specific item that doesn't actually have a drawer, I can throw that item into a drawer, and then immediately it'll start pulling that stuff out and dumping it into the network, instead of me having to manually pick all that stuff up and take it where it needs to go. It just makes it a little bit easier and more automatic for us. Now, I'm going to add another input routing node system, and this one is actually going to handle outputting from the drawers. And everything on this network needs to be filtered, because we want to make sure that everything that goes through this network has a specific place that it's going, and it's not just kind of going wherever willy-nilly. So we're going to have one central input network, one central output network from the drawers, and then we can add additional ones if we need specialized stuff or whatever. But I think this will cover most things, especially if we filter everything. It should be good. And then we'll go ahead and just grab this node right here, and we're going to set up another master node. And we'll set it up right here. So we have like the master nodes that actually govern this building all within this building. So we'll connect that up. There's like beams going all over the place. And then we're going to grab that master and we're going to connect it down into the blood magic area first. Okay, so let's get ourselves our frame drawer. And we'll just pop down here and we'll go set this up. So I'm going to want an output routing node. And what we're going to do is that third altar that I've made is actually for automation. It's our first automation altar. And I'm not too worried about the higher tier slates at the moment, but I want to go ahead and automate blank slates because I use a lot of them for pretty much anything, anytime I start doing any kind of blood magic stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to set up our drawer. Oh, let's see, where do we want to put it? I'm actually thinking about having, let's see. There's 5 slates, and really you don't use ethereal for much of anything. I wouldn't mind ignoring it, so maybe we'll say there's 4 slates. Demonic we use a bit, imbued we use a lot, reinforced we use a lot, blank we don't really use all that much. I mean, and blank we use a lot, but ethereal we don't use very much at all. Now, is there anything else that I would like to automate? Let me see. Not really. Not really anything else in here that I can think of that we would want to automate. But what I'm thinking is we'll have 2 drawers. I'm going to put both of them right over here, I think. So we'll just pull this off, and we'll add our frame drawer in. I'm going to put an output routing node right here. And I want to say that I've got blank slates, right? I think they're, yeah, right here. Let's go ahead and just grab these. We're not going to be making slates, at least blank slates, manually anymore. We're just going to pop those into there. And there we go. And then what I want to do is on this output routing node, we're going to go ahead and put a precise filter into the... Well, actually, we don't need a precise filter on the output. Never mind. We'll just leave that as is. So output routing node setting right there. And then what I want to do is let's set up another output node, and this one is going to feed into the blood altar that's right here. So we're going to say that the east side is going to have a precise filter in it, and we're going to say that it can take smooth stone, and we're going to set this to 1. So only 1 smooth stone can go in this at a time. Then I'm going to have to connect this up with some redstone so that it doesn't output, because it shouldn't. So if I put that right there, that should shut it off, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect this to the main output system. So just right click, and you'll notice like right now it's not doing anything. But then if I was to pull this off, there we go. A piece of stone just went in there, and if we give it just a second, we can see that it's going to start crafting, and it made us a blank slate. Okay, it's only going to do 1 at a time, and the reason I'm only doing 1 at a time is because sometimes, first up, sometimes it kind of acts up, so I want to go ahead and basically set a control for that. So it only has 1 at a time, so it pulls it out relatively quickly. And then we're going to have an output routing node setting, or I'm sorry, not an output, an input routing node. And it's going to be sitting right here, and we're going to say that the west side is going to have a precise filter. And we're going to say that only blank slates can be pulled out. And then what we're going to do is connect this up, and we're going to need a master. And we'll just put the master right here. Now, we can actually use the same master for all of our node automation here. So this will be fine, because everything's going to be filtered on this network. And anything that's not filtered is connected to a drawer that doesn't actually need to be filtered. Now, one thing I do want to do is I want to actually pull that up. Let's open this up slow. I've got all this Omethal stone. Oh, I may not actually be able to put a drawer here. I may have the blank slate setting here, and then the other 4 setting over here. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to pull this up. I just don't have the space here. It's not going to work out here. So I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to have it setting over here on this the other side of this Omethal stone. So we'll figure this will be the first drawer. I'm going to use cobblestone right now. And I may actually change a few things on this. Now eventually this is going to have a master, like a drawer controller on here, but for right now I'm just going to use, I'm just going to have it connected to a frame drawer. I haven't made another drawer controller. I made a few between episodes, but those things, they're somewhat expensive. We'll be using one here in a little bit, one that I set up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll connect this over to the master node, like that. And then if I was to remove this redstone torch, we should see stone starts coming in, and if we give it just a second, it doesn't take very long for it to craft, it just takes it a second to kind of register. But the blank slates in this will start going up. It's going to start pulling them out as soon as they become blank slates. So 2 stacks and 3, and then if we give it just a second, 2 stacks and 4, and so on. And it's just kind of like passive blank slate automation. It takes, what, maybe 5 seconds per slate. It's really not... I mean, I could speed it up by allowing it to take in more stone at a time, but I like just having the one so that it doesn't accidentally become a reinforced slate, stop up the system, and then also it doesn't make too many and then stop up the system. You know, it's a little bit more control just doing them one at a time. It really doesn't take that long, in truth. It's fairly quick, I'd say. Okay, so now that that thing's going, and this is going to start filling up with blank slates. Like I said, I'll eventually put a drawer controller on this. I'm actually going to put the output actually needs to go right here and not right there. Eventually it's just going to be on the drawer controller, so we'll just switch that up a little bit. And then the nice thing is, once it's on a drawer controller, it'll just go wherever slates go. You know, it's not going, like, if it accidentally makes a reinforced slate, that's fine. It can go into a drawer somewhere. And now the next thing that I want to do is, let's take a look at drawers, and I want to make the redstone upgrade. Emit signal for total storage. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our redstone upgrade and we're going to put it into this drawer. So this is going to emit redstone based on, you can already see it's almost made a stack of slates, which isn't too bad. I'm pretty happy with it. It's going to emit redstone based on how filled the storage is. So if we put down redstone, we've got a fill level of 2 at the moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up a comparator. And I'm actually going to have to space out the drawers a little bit whenever I set this up, and kind of do just like frame trim that kind of connects everything, so we can have redstone controlling all of this, because I don't want it making more slates than what we actually need. And I'm going to leave it at 32 stacks for right now. I think that'll be good. Then the other ones I'm going to use, actually I'll probably do single drawers, and then I'll do these right here, these storage downgrades. Reduces base storage to a single stack, because you can actually use that with some of these and get the exact amount of stacks that you want, or pretty close to it anyways. Okay, so a power of 2 coming out of there. And then what I want to do is set up a comparator sitting right here. And we are going to have, so we'll bring this out, we're going to have the redstone come out, and then I'm going to set up we're going to set it up right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some redstone ran down like that, and we're going to have a redstone torch sitting right here, so that a power of 13 comes into this comparator. So until the drawer is 13/15 filled or more, it's not going to emit redstone past this point. Okay, because we're just going to basically set up a little bit of redstone control for this system. And then what we're going to do is, right over here, we're going to set up a redstone wire connector right there, and this should already be set to input. It is on the white channel, that's fine. And we're going to connect this up to, basically I need to bring it out over to here, and this one is going to be an output on the white channel, and it's going to have just a piece of redstone that comes out like that. I think would be the best way to do it. Let me try something. I'm going to try running it through the rune of capacity that's down there up into the output routing node. And I'm going to bring this all onto the floor. Oh, whoops. Okay, we have a slight problem. The redstone coming out of this is actually affecting the output routing node. Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to have to go ahead and make the drawer controller. So, yeah, I think that would be, because it's just making ethereal slates right now. Oh, the redstone's shutting everything off. Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to run the redstone over from this. I'm just going to leave that ethereal slate in there and let the system stop for right now. I'm going to run the redstone under the ground, I think. And I need to connect it up to this output routing node. So if we have like the wire connector down here, say that this is going to be output, and then I can just kind of run this down. I need to bring it over this way. So if we just put down that right there and connect it up, and then I can just bring this over, basically. So I'll be back here in just a minute once I get this thing all sorted out and everything. I've got to basically dig a tunnel and just connect the redstone wire up. And then I've got to make a drawer controller. So I'll be back here in just a minute. Okay, I got that fixed. So you can see it's making blank slates now, because I got it pumping into the drawer controller. And then I also got the redstone wire ran, it's actually just ran underneath the ground here, because I don't think the redstone wire really fits the blood magic area all that much. So I kind of wanted it kind of hidden. And I've got it plugged up, of course, to the bottom of that node. And so then what we can do, if we want to test it, which this thing's been kicking out nodes, or slates. We're up to 5 stacks and 18 at the moment. You can see the output node is on the drawer controller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a drawer here, and then a drawer 2 over, and then a drawer, you know, right above this frame trim, and then right above. So they're kind of like scattered out in like a web. And this, actually, this I can remove now. And then I've got the redstone wire connector sitting right here, and that going into it. But if we want to, we can pull this lever, which simulates redstone going into the wire connector. And then if we come over here, you can see it's not pumping stone into this anymore. So as soon as that drawer starts getting, you know, towards kind of filled, it's going to shut everything off. Now in addition, one other thing that we could do is add one more redstone wire connector, and we can have it attached to the Well of Suffering, and just connect that up and set this to output. So then it's going to stop hurting the mobs down here too. So we're not going to be using life points, and we're not going to be, you know, having mobs that are being damaged and being healed up and making a bunch of noise. Of course, I'm going to put a sound muffler down here, but and then as soon as the system, the blank slates go down and it's ready to go again, the redstone goes back off, and there we go. It's running again. Perfect. Perfect. And that means we can let the system just kind of sit around and make blank slates for us. I'll never have to make blank slates ever again. Of course, it really wasn't that bad with a hopper and an upper, but now we don't even have to worry about that at all. And then I'm going to kind of do the same thing for like reinforced, imbued, demonic, and whatnot. I don't know for sure if I want to run them through one single altar, or if I would rather just do 4 altars for automation. I'm honestly leaning towards the 4 altars because they're really not expensive to set up, and they're not time consuming to set up or anything like that. But we could also do it through a single altar as well, just as easily. So I don't know. We'll see. And this wheel over here is steadily building up. It's not nearly as fast as when we're actually running the spawners, but it is steadily making progress. Okay, so now that's taken care of. The blank slates are automated, and I mean that's the main ones I use. Also, our wheel is automated, so we've really kind of come full circle with blood magic. Now there is a couple other things that I would like to do though this episode. Let me actually go ahead and put this book up because I don't actually need it. I would like to work on the ore processing area, and this is kind of important. I've actually got the area started. I wanted to wait until we get our what's the wheel type that I'm using? It's the destructive, because I want that nice brown look over here. But if we pop up here, I've actually got this area that's started, and you can see we've got a crusher here, we've got an arc furnace. I moved all of our ores up here, which that and that are currently unfamiliar. But I got all that stuff moved up here, and I made drawers and set these up here, and I've got kilns, alloy kilns set up here and already loaded with coal, because I think you can make alloys in the arc furnace, but the problem is when it comes to making alloys in the arc furnace, can you not view recipes? If you wanted to make, say, bronze, I mean technically we could work around this and, you know, keep ore on hand, but it takes like copper, and then it takes tin dust. You have to have a dust form when you're making this. So I think I'd rather make the alloys in the alloy kiln. It's not slow at all, and it's actually pretty effective. So I went ahead and made a few more of these, and I actually have, I think I put them up, but I've got enough kiln bricks actually made up to make 2 more if I wanted to. But I did set up, I'm going to move the drawers. I'm going to get rid of the drawers that are down there that have the base metals in them, and I'm going to have them all come into this forge area here on out. So, and then I've got back here, I've got a drawer controller set up as well. Okay, so this is all the metals that this room will be producing at the moment, and we're going to start automating the ore doubling process. So what I would like to do is I'd like to set up, we're going to get into a little bit more blood magic here in just a second, but for right now, we're going to start with the base stuff, the easy stuff. I would like to set up a chest, we're going to have it setting right here, actually. And I'll rotate this later once it gets drained, because I'm not pulling all this stuff out. Actually, I've got a rotator, but I think it's over in the warehouse, so I'm not going to worry about that. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up a small little node system, and finally I won't have to manually do this anymore, which is going to be great. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to put a output routing node right here, and we'll have it setting just on the top of this. That's fine. And we're going to say that the downside is a priority of 2. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to connect this up to the dump network. And the reason being is because ingots are going to get dumped into the system inevitably. And so I want them to actually go into the proper place. So we'll just connect over to this input routing node that's connected to the dump system. And then what I would like to do, that part's already done. So now if I take metals and I dump them in here, it's going to come in here and it's going to get stored into our forge area. Then eventually all this is going to be plugged up with our AE2 refined storage network. I'm still debating on which one I want to do. Part of me, like, I really want to do AE2, but at the same time I know refined storage actually got a lot of new features in 1.12, so I'm kind of like, well, we might check that out. I don't know for sure yet. We've still got time to think about that, because it's not going to be until like next age before we even start down one of those paths. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's go ahead and I'm going to have to run power up here as well, but let's go ahead and put an output routing node setting right here. And we're going to go ahead and grab this connection, and this is going to connect into a master. And I'm not going to filter this because if it can go here, it'll go here, you know, because it's drawers. And it's going to be separate from the dump system because we don't want it connected up to the dump system. We're going to set this master node up right, and we'll put it on top of the arc furnace. That'll be cool. Because I'm actually planning on having something come over this, so it'll kind of connect into the halfway ceiling. It's going to have a second floor on this because it needs to go up again, but this will be good. This will be good. Okay, so output node, master node is set. Now what I want to do is I want to put an input node attached to this chest, and we'll just put it on the top. And I am going to, well, I don't need to filter this. We're going to say that downside you can pull in everything from this, because we're going to have the outputs filtered. And so then what I would like to do, I want to say it's the wooden hopper. This one right here, I think is the one that will automatically split stuff in the arc furnace. And if so, I want to test it real quick. I think that's the one that I want. I remember some discussion before about it, and it will, one of the hoppers, I think it's the wooden hopper, will auto split. Because by default, the arc furnace will not split stacks on its own. I kind of wish it did. So if we attach that right there, left side handles this input on the right side handles this input. So we're mainly going to be dealing in this room, the main place that we're going to be dealing with input is on this left side. I will probably set up like some steel creation thing, but that'll mainly be down there in the other arc furnace. This one's mainly going to be for the ore processing aspect of things, just because I don't want to clog it down making alloys, really. So if I threw this into here, yes, the wooden hopper does auto split. So that's the one that we're going to want to use. And I'm thinking that, I don't know if I just want to leave the chest up here, or I think I could probably just put a node on this and it should feed into the hopper, but I'm not 100% sure because I know these don't work as inventory, so I haven't actually tested this, so we'll test it in just a second. But let's actually start with the crusher over there. And do I want to make just a wooden hopper? No, I think I'd rather have a metal hopper for the crusher because it looks better. I think it matches better. So we're going to put it on that side right there. And then we're going to put an output routing node right here. And we're going to say that on the east side, and it's going to have a precise filter because we are going to start filtering things because not everything just needs to get dumped into the crusher, you know. So I'm going to say that, all right, you're going to be able to accept silver, nickel, gold, iron, tin, copper, aluminum, and lead. It's all the possible metals that we are creating in here at the moment. This doesn't include alloys and stuff like that, but it's all the metals that we're currently creating except for platinum. So all of this stuff through here can be ran through the crusher. All that stuff works fine, but if you take a look at the crusher, it cannot be used for platinum. So we're going to use blood magic for doubling that, and we're going to get into that in just a second. Okay, so now that that's in place, what we're going to do, we actually have to run power up to this. So give me just a second. I've got to connect basically just a little power line that runs from downstairs up to here. It's going to take just a second to run all of that, and I have to make... I think I have to make some more HV stuff. I've got it over here. Okay, I've got this ran over. This cobblestone, of course. It's not going to stay cobblestone. Whoops. I actually almost killed myself when I was messing with this because I got caught down with the wires. But basically it just runs through here and then down through there, and this stuff will all be kind of hidden away. It comes down to there and then gets sent over along the ceiling here, and then kind of gets wrapped through over to here, and then it comes down and connects down like that. So it's still along the ceiling there. I guess I could set up another... Actually worked out well because I'm out of HV wire again. But I could set up another like connector relay right there and then bring it over. I don't know. But it's plugged up to 6 locations again, so we have lots of power running through this. The arc furnace and the crusher are now fully charged. So we'll just pop up here. And so then what I want to do, we've got this output node with the filter set right here, and let's go ahead. Actually, let me go get the stuff to make storage crates, because I think I want it to pump out into storage crates and then get sent off, you know, to wherever. Okay, so I'm going to put a wooden storage crate on the front of this crusher, and then really we're ready to activate this first part. So if we take, let's see, did I ever connect? So there's a master node right there. That's the one with the outputs. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go ahead and grab this master node. It's actually been a little while since I first set this up. We're going to grab that. We're going to connect it over to the input routing node. And this one's just inputting everything. And then we're going to grab master node again. That's fine. And we're going to connect it up to the output node. And we should see stuff coming into this. You can see gold, silver has been pulled out of that, and it's starting to get crushed down. Now, we need to work quickly. Let's go ahead and set ourselves up an input routing node on the top of this, and we are going to set up a output routing node over here on top of our wooden hopper, and we're going to add in like the gold grit. Okay, so we're going to say that the downside precise filter, and we're going to say gold grit. Gold grit. There we go. And then we can just connect this to this, and this to that. And okay, it's not going to pull out. It's not going to pull out on its own, and that's due to the fact that it's not seeing that as an inventory. So what we'll do instead, just grab my output node. We're going to put a wooden storage crate on top of that, and output routing node right here, downside with our precise filter, and then connect this up. And there we go. We can see gold grit is getting sent down to here, and it should start getting smelted. I'm going to put a wooden storage crate on the front here, by the way. Oh, you know what? Oh, you know what? I never put electrodes into it. My bad. So I'm going to hit that with redstone right now. We can kind of leave that lever right there. Or actually, I'm going to drop it. Whoops. Actually, I'm going to drop the lever right here. So we can hit that with redstone, and it's going to stop sending stuff over. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, I'm going to have to craft up some electrodes real quick. And I am going to go ahead and put unbreaking on these. Unbreaking 3, so give me just a second while I get that set up. I cannot believe I totally forgot about the electrodes. Mega Dirt, which I should have plenty of coal coke, because I just made, I think, 3 stacks over here of blocks. It's actually been a little while since I made those, but yeah, we should be good on that. Can I go ahead and actually just crush this as is and get 9? Yes, awesome. Okay, I actually didn't have enough Unbreaking 3 books, and I didn't have a whole lot of Unbreaking books, period. I ended up just sticking Unbreaking 2 on there, because I had a few of those, and that'll be fine, honestly. So we'll just throw those into there, and there we go. It's still going to last a really long time with Unbreaking 2. I've used up so many of the Unbreaking 3 books, you know, doing other stuff. Alright, so let's take a look. We've got gold ingots pouring into here. And then we're going to go ahead and just put an input master or an input routing node right there. And then all we have to do is just connect this over to here. All right, that's already connected. So if we just connect it up, yeah, connect it up to there. That's fine. Okay, so if we take a look here, all the gold should start getting pulled out. Should. Oh, you know what it is? It's the redstone going through this. It's because I have it shut off. It's not sending the items, is what it is. Okay, so if I release the redstone, there we go. It's just pulled everything out. Then this input node should start... Oh, it's not sending anything. This one isn't sending anything because it doesn't have the filter set. Okay, but we've got our gold in there. So if you shut off one node that's farther down the line, it's gonna break off all the connected stuff. Okay. So, whoops. It's actually kind of useful, though. I didn't realize it worked that way. Usually, I haven't really used these extensively with redstone, so some of the redstone features are actually kind of new to me on these. Alright, so let's go ahead and add silver and lead to this. So we should see those popping in there. We are. I'm going to go ahead and just dump those into there. Beautiful. And then this is going to be pulling it out as soon as it comes in here. Technically, I could get rid of the wooden storage crate here and here, and just have like a node, you know, attached to there. But I think I like the storage crates there. I think so. Plus, I don't really want it to take a chance of it getting backed up and everything. So I think I like it being right there. Okay, so anyways, this stuff's going to start filling up with, I don't know, what's probably, yeah, silver right now is going, and then it'll be lead after that, and then this is going to keep draining and filling this out and running all of our metals. So everything's going to get ran, and we can just let it go. Our power can keep up, so that's not a problem. Okay, so now that that's in place, the only thing that we don't have being dealt with right now is platinum. That is the only thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start getting into the alchemy table from Blood Magic. So this right here, it's not terribly expensive to craft. I am going to need, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and set this up. We're not going to have it fully automated at our current state. But basically what we need to do, if you take a look at platinum, let me just grab a piece of this so I've got it on hand. If you take a look at platinum, running it through the alchemy table, you need to run it with cutting fluid, and it's going to double it. And then to make cutting fluid, it's all this stuff, and plant oil. Plant oil is like this. So I'm going to go ahead and make 3 alchemy tables, and that's for basically automating the entire line of it. Right now, we're not going to have everything fully automated. Okay, and we've got these extra blood orbs lying around, so I'm actually going to use these for putting into the table. So let's go ahead and make our 3 alchemy tables. So let's get this thing crafted out. There's 3 alchemy tables. And the first table that we're going to be running is going to handle plant oil. So I'm going to grab some bones. Like I said, it's not going to be fully automated at the moment. But really, I could automate the potatoes coming in fairly easily. We'll actually go ahead and automate some parts of it. So I'm going to put the alchemy table set up. I'm thinking that we'll go maybe here, here, here with our alchemy tables. And so what I want to do is we're going to put a output routing node attached to this one on the back side. And I'm going to go ahead and just left click and basically close. If you have it set to red, it's not going to keep putting in items, so you can actually kind of limit how many items go into this with that. Now you can still place items into this, but you can't automatically pump items into it. Okay, so you can kind of specify slots with that. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to take and put... Oh, let's see. I don't have bone meal necessarily automated at the moment, so I'm not going to worry about that part. I can manually put in bone meal for plant oil, because honestly it's going to go really, really far. I've actually got bone meal right here. So, yeah. I'll just go ahead and grab a little bit of that. But what I want to do is over here, this network that's right over here that's pumping potatoes out, I want to go ahead and just grab this. And we're going to connect this up to that altar, or that blood table that's up here, so that the potato aspect of it is automatically handled. And I did forget to grab one potato, so let me grab that. Just one is all I need, just to set up a filter, because it uses 2 potatoes per plant oil and only uses 1 bone meal per plant oil. So this first table, we're going to say that the south side has a precise filter in it, potatoes, and we're going to say that you can pump in 128, so 2 stacks of potatoes that can go into this. And then we'll just right click there, and you could see it just got 2 stacks of potatoes. Okay, so and it's not going to dump them into these slots. I mean, technically you don't have to worry about even doing this if you didn't want to. If you're automating it with the nodes, because you can just set how many items go into this. But then all we need to do is just drop in a blood orb that's connected to our network, and it looks like the weak one, oh wait, and then put in bone meal. And it's going to start crafting. It's as easy as that. And this little slot right here is basically just like a hold slot. If you want to put, like, say plant oil or cutting oil, if you want to move it off the table and set it in that slot, that's fine. So it's producing plant oil. And then we're going to go ahead and set a input routing node and an output routing node next to that. I don't think, if I had an input routing node here, I think I could just connect it up to this same network that's doing the potatoes and stuff down there, because that's all drawers that filters through. So let's say that the south side is going to have a precise item filter, and we're going to say, whoops, we're going to say that you can do plant oil. And the nice thing is you can actually limit these per item too. So you can have a separate item here that has a different amount than 64. So we're going to say 64 plant oil in this. And then if we were to connect this, that to that, we should see... Oh, let's see. Where does it need to go? Does it need to go on the bottom of the table? Never actually messed with automating these, so this is all like new territory here. Okay, yeah, see, it's working now. It just pulled out some plant oil. That's the slot that it's wanting to send it to, so we'll just let it send it there. That's fine. So it's going to keep pulling out the plant oil for us. And then, in addition, I also need to... It does need to be on the bottom, though, it seems like. I also need to make the cutting fluid, I'm going to need redstone, gunpowder, coal dust, and sugar. Okay, so what we're going to do for right now, we're going to set up a output routing node that's going to be setting right here. And this one is going to have a precise filter. And we're going to say redstone, and we're going to say 64 redstone can go into this. And then we're also going to need gunpowder, which I don't have any on me. I'll set that in just a second. So, gunpowder and redstone. And we are going to connect this up to our main output system that we set up earlier that's outputting the stone. I want to connect it up to that so it can pump the redstone and the gunpowder from our drawer network into our alchemy table. So basically the automation that we're setting up here is just kind of like to make things a little bit easier, you know? So that would be this input system. It's the input system that we need to connect to, so that right there. I love the range on these things. It's just so good. And then we'll go ahead and grab ourselves some gunpowder. And we don't have sugar automated yet. We also don't have coal dust automated yet. So I'm not going to worry about those two. Adding those to the automation right this second. We can deal with that later. It's not really a big deal. Let's go ahead and grab coal dust and sugar. And there's one other thing that we're going to need for this, and we'll get that in just a second here. Probably should have grabbed it while I was out, but that's fine. I want to go ahead and get this table set up so everything but the last thing is in here. Okay, so if we take a look here, I set it to down. It needs to go on the south side. You got to be careful with those facings. Those are quite important. Okay, so then I also want to add gunpowder to this, and we're going to say 64 gunpowder. Okay. Be careful, because it's going to do that if you don't set it quick. It's going to be like, okay, I can just pump all of this in there? Sure. And then we throw in our coal dust, our sugar, and then the last thing that we need for cutting fluid is potions. Any kind of potion works. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put a... for right now, this is a very temporary system, but since potions don't stack, I'm just going to put a hopper on this. And I'm going to put a chest. And then I'm going to go get a bunch of potions. And honestly, this is going to be enough, like 15 cutting fluids, because each one has 16 uses. It's going to be enough that we can run all of our platinum and then a lot more platinum. So I'm not too terribly concerned about that, really. So what we'll do is we'll just throw our potions into here. And you can see that one got pulled out and dumped into there. The rest are going into this hopper right now. And so there is 15 potions of healing. And then all we have to do is just drop a blood orb into this. We're going to throw our apprentice blood orb in. And you can see that's going to start crafting. Now if you take a look, you can actually see that this, for example, takes 1,000 life points and it takes 400 ticks. If you take a look over here at... oh, I ran out of bone meal. If you take a look at plant oil, 100 life points, 100 ticks. And then if you take a look at the platinum, breaking this down, 400 life points, 200 ticks. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's go ahead and we'll pull this off. Piece of cobble down there. I'm going to put a input routing node right there. And I'm going to put a output routing node right here. And this is going to be connected to there. And this is also going to have, I want to set a filter that's going to specify on the south side, yes, south side, precise filter, basic cutting fluid. And cutting fluid does not stack, so it's only going to craft one at a time. I'm going to go ahead and knock these down, set those to red, and we're going to set the precise cutting fluid as only one is allowed in there at a time. Okay, and now all we have to do is, let me pull that, throw that down, and we're going to connect this up to our node system that we've had going on. So this one right here. And then lastly, the last thing that I need to do is we're going to grab platinum, and we're going to set another output routing node here. We're going to say that the south side, precise filter, platinum, and 64. And then all we really have to do is just connect this up to here. And we should see platinum goes in there, and then we can throw our magician blood orb in. And it's going to start running. And it's going to start breaking down that platinum for us. And there we go. 2 platinum dust. And so on. Then this platinum dust we can just run through the arc furnace. So then all we have to do is just grab our items from the bottom side here. So input routing node right there. And then we are going to add platinum dust to this. There we go. And then just connect that up. And there we go. Platinum is going into there, and it's going into the arc furnace and smelting up. Well, the crusher has everything that was in there piled up in there, but it's having to run through all of it. So it's going to take it a minute to get through all of that. Okay, but this thing's going to be cooking down platinum, and there we go. And then as soon as this gets through a cutting fluid, because it's got 5 out of 16 uses, and we can see this is actually smelting down the platinum as it gets finished up. There we go. There's 2 pieces of platinum. We can see platinum's going up in there. 18 stacks of silver, 5 stacks of lead, over 3 stacks of gold. This crusher has so much stuff in it. You can see every, like, few seconds something gets pulled through. And then if we pop over here, I mean, that's all pretty much automated. It's just going to take a while for it to run. So, and if we take a look at our electrodes, how are they doing? Beautiful. 98.34%. And it's already ran, like, about 25 stacks of materials. Let's pop over here and check on our slates and just see where that's at the moment. Because it is about wrapping up point, I know, for this episode, so I just want to check that before we end out. And then I'm going to AFK and let the spawners run and build us up on wheel, because I imagine that's not, like, crazy built up at the moment. We have about to hit 20 stacks of slates already, which is awesome. There we go, 20 stacks of slates. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this, because once it hits like the next materials, I'm gonna have to add it to the whitelist up here and everything, so I just need to keep an eye on that. But this is still kicking away. It's sending over cutting fluid. I mean, like I said, this amount of cutting fluid, this amount of potions, it's gonna make enough cutting fluid to run through like all that platinum, because 4 cutting fluid per stack of platinum per 2 stacks of platinum ingots, so not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, I'm actually recording this after the episode. It's pretty much after I finished editing and everything, but a couple things I wanted to make note of before I ended out the episode for you guys is, first up, I changed over this node, this setup right here with the basic cutting fluid. Once it ran out of platinum, it threw another basic cutting fluid in there because I put a precise filter. Silly me. So I changed it and I set it to an MBT item filter. So now if it registers any cutting fluid in this, like right now there's a damaged cutting fluid in there. If I pull this one out, you can see there's a cutting fluid that's made, but it's not going over here. So make sure, if you're doing this setup, make sure and do an MBT filter and not a precise filter on that. And then also this, you can craft cutting fluid with water bottles. So just a heads up, if we throw these into there, yeah, I'll just pull this out. If I was to pull out this basic cutting fluid, it takes the water bottle and it crafts. So it is craftable with water bottles. You don't have to use actually like potions for that. So just a heads up. I'm just going to put this into here. It's going to be a while before I can run through like all those water bottles. I did 15. We could easily automate it with the bottler, but honestly this is so much. It would take me like 5 or 6 platinum nodes to run through all of this. It lasts forever. Also, this has finished running. The crusher finally got through everything. It took a while. It took about close to 2 hours. You can see that after running everything, our graphite electrode integrity is still really high. Over 90% on all of them, just with unbreaking 2, and it ran through a lot of materials. Like those electrodes are going to last us forever. And we have over 4 stacks of iron, exactly 14 stacks of gold, almost 24 stacks of tin, almost 19 stacks of copper, almost 17 stacks of aluminum, almost 30 stacks of lead, 4.5 stacks of nickel, almost 23 stacks of silver, and over 7 stacks of platinum. So we're doing pretty good on metals. Iron is like the one thing that I'm low on, but that goes without saying. But in truth, actually right down here, if we take a look inside of this crucible, I've got, there's nearly 3 stacks of iron. Then I've also got some nuggets, and I know I've got about 3 stacks of iron over there that were nuggets that I upgraded. So, I mean, I'm actually pretty decent on iron, and plus we're going to be getting into a little bit more immersive engineering in the next few episodes, which is pretty much going to fix our iron issues in a lot of ways. So, I mean, really, we're setting pretty good on materials at the moment. And a lot of our big stuff, we do have one more big immersive engineering setup coming up, but most of our heavy iron uses, they're not really gone, but we've gotten through a lot of them anyways. Also, this has stopped running. You can see it's emitting redstone, a power of 13 that's coming through here. And if you take a look, we have 27, almost 27.5 stacks of blank slates is where it stopped. So 1,756 blank slates. I may add an upgrade to that just so we have more. I know we're going to need quite a bit of them for in-game. Not as, I know Xavier said it's not as much as it used to be. But if we went ahead and had a bunch of blank slates at the ready, it would help. Because we can actually make those really, really good tanks from Blood Magic. these blood tanks that you can make them store up to 524,000 buckets of liquid. Not millibuckets, but buckets of liquid. So, I mean, those things are expensive to make because each one you have to tear it up with blank runes and bloodstone and all that stuff. But we could make those. So anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. So I am going to end it out here. Next episode, we're going to continue on with advancements. We'll probably get into either Steve's carts or maybe into some modular machines or a little bit of immersive engineering. I haven't decided for sure yet. So we'll get into one of those three next episode because we've pretty much got blood magic. It's good, you know. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you guys have any questions or anything, do let me know, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.